right hand by Dalton Smith. Another big right hand. Matias is hurt. He's on bad legs. Down goes Matias off the right hand. And he is exhausted. Matias was winning the round, but I told you his body language. Matias looks out of it. The referee stops the fight. It's a 5th round knockout. I think the stoppage is a little bit bad, but Matias was out on his feet, and Dalton Smith weathers the storm and knocks out Subriel Matias with the right hand. Beautiful fight. What a what gumption by Dalton Smith. He had to weather the storm. And he knocks him. I said before the fight that I thought that volume would be the edge for Matias, and it was winning him rounds. He was winning battles, but losing the war. And at some point in the 4th round, Dalton Smith made his mind up that he wasn't going anywhere. Shout out to Teddy Atlas. He called this fight beautifully, nailed it. And I said Smith was going to have to hurt him and maybe knock him out with the right hand, and he did. But anyways, what a performance, what a fight. I think Matias was outlanding him. Even in the round he got knocked out in. But his body language was going more and more limp. He wasn't as strong and as sturdy as he was in the Alberto Puello fight. And Smith was the fresher, hungrier, sturdier fighter. And this one was about who could take the shot better. And Dalton Smith, at some point in that 4th round, made his mind up. In the 2nd and 3rd round, it looked like the champion was speeding him up and starting to break him down a little bit. But then in the 4th round, Smith made his mind up that he wasn't going anywhere. He was going to walk through anything he had to walk through. And he was beginning to punctuate, even when he was getting outlanded, even when his head was snapping. He was starting to smother the power a little bit. And Matias was arm weary, was exhausted. And I thought maybe the pace would be too much for Dalton Smith. It looked like the pace was becoming too much for him in the 2nd and 3rd. But he had his composure. And that right hand bomb stops the fight, knocks out Subriel Matias. The pace wound up being too much. The pace Matias was setting burned him out. And what a fight. What a knockout for Dalton Smith, who's a good fighter. He may not be the favorite against the Teofimos, the Shakurs, the Gary Antoines, the Richardson Hitchens, but he earned the right to be a world champion tonight. And for Matias, some bad karma, popping for the PED, trying to fight with the gloves that weren't sanctioned ultimately by the commission, and for the 2nd time in a homecoming title defense gets knocked out. Not knocked out, he lost to Liam Paro, but gets knocked out and loses to a Commonwealth fighter in Dalton Smith. Hats off to Dalton Smith, man. That was, I don't think the Puerto Ricans will go home that disappointed. Every other Puerto Rican on the card got a knockout, yeah. And there was exciting fights throughout, and they got a war. They love boxing, first and foremost, and they got a 5-round Fight of the Year candidate. What a way to start the year. Shout out to Fresh Promotions. They did their thing, and Dalton Smith, look, I didn't like Matias taking the selfies on the way to the ring. I didn't like the PED. I didn't like him being fixated on Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn got in his head a little bit. Eddie Hearn's a good promoter. And ultimately, Dalton Smith makes good on Eddie Hearn backing up his talk. It sucks we won't get Pitbull Cruz versus Matias. But Matias, for as exciting as he is, and now Matias is raising up Dalton Smith's hands and giving him props. But Matias is a really fun fighter, but a very beatable fighter. His defense is not good. And that's been his undoing 3 times now. And now I think biased commentary. What do you mean? I was saying that Smith was walking through the fire. And check Foxy Iro. This was not biased commentary. This was fire commentary by your boy. I was saying while Matias was outlanding him, it wasn't looking good for him. And ultimately it didn't. So, and even though I gave him the edge heading in, this fight was close enough that I didn't go on the record on the channel with a pre-fight prediction. It's just once we got live and you guys asked me who I gave the edge to, I had to give the edge to Matias. But I did say Dalton Smith could win this fight, and if he wins this fight, it's by knocking him out with the right hand, and he did. So anyways, hell of a fight. and a really good way to start off the year. And yeah, man, Dalton Smith is a good matchup for any of the other fighters. So any of the other champions is a good fight. This was a young man who came in with the eye of the tiger, who wanted it, who made his mind up, who was maybe wilting a little bit in the second or third fight. Once those waves came, I got to, again, shout out Teddy Atlas. He named it. He nailed it, man. He said he thinks that Matias would be a little bit shop-worn from the Puello fight. I think he was. Nothing to take away from Smith. And he also said he was guessing that... Oh, not my commentary. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Fox. My bad. I got defensive. I apologize. Thank you, Sammy, for letting me know. My wife let me know what it is. My bad. But Teddy Atlas called it, man. He's been on fire. He said that he knew, he estimated that Smith would have the character to weather the storm. And boy, did he. And I do think, again, Teddy was also accurate in saying that the Puello fight probably took something out of Matias. But, man, I just got to give a shout-out to Teddy. He's brilliant. But that was a hell of a fight, man. Hats off to both guys. I can't say enough. It was a hell of a fight. That was a great 5-round fucking war. That was a classic. And the whole card was good. I should have got on earlier. The whole card was good. So Steve Santiago said great commentary. So you guys are saying the commentary was biased as hell for Corey Erdman and Raul. Why did they? Well, I mean, to be fair to them, it was a fight where Matias, in my eyes, was winning the battles, a.k.a. the rounds. I gave Smith clearly the first. Second round was a swing round. Third round was clearly Matias. But the second round was a swing round I edged to Matias. The third round was clearly for Matias. The fourth round, 2/3 of the round was Matias, but Smith hurt him at the conclusion of the fourth round, and it was in the fourth round where the foreshadowing of the eventual knockout in the fifth. And then even in the fifth round, up until the knockout, Matias was winning. So conceivably, you were heading towards a 49-46, 4-1 fight for the champion right as he got knocked out. So to cut those guys slack, if they were calling it for Matias, conceivably he was banking rounds. Now again, the second round, close round. The fourth round, I think Matias outlanded him that round, but he got hurt at the bell. So if you want to swing it that way to Smith, I'm not mad at you. But again, conceivably, Matias up until the knockout was heading towards a 4-1 fight. But I noted in the commentary that he was, winning the battles, but it starting to look like he was on his way to losing the war. And that's what happened, man. And boxing is a special sport because what you saw come out of the fighting spirit of Dalton Smith, in my opinion, was special tonight. It got deep for him. He probably was getting hit with more shots in 2 or 3 rounds from a champion who may have already been desperate early, who knew he felt not all the way himself right out of the gates. Because the difference between the first round of the Ergashev fight, which had some similarities to the first round of this fight, Matias looked fresh and confident and had that swagger to him. He seemed to know he was in a little bit of trouble. And he fought a little bit out of desperation as early as the second and third rounds, and it worked. It swung the momentum his way, but he couldn't sustain it. And to see Smith pull through that and weather that storm and not be denied is what the sport is all about. That's what makes magic in the ring. So, man, tremendous credit to Dalton Smith and credit to Matias, even though there's people obviously throwing some shit his way for the Osterine and things like that. But, Matias is a warrior in his own right, 100%. Two-time champion, two-time former champion now. But, again, between the selfies on the way to the ring, getting fixated on Eddie Hearn, the boxing gods maybe punishing him for some karma. But I don't know, man. The boxing gods let a lot of guys off with bad karma. But ultimately, that's what happened. And people saying Matias got exposed. I think his deficiencies have been exposed multiple times. It's just a matter of can you be good enough? Can you be tough enough to expose them? Ananian exposed them, and then he beat him in the rematch. Paro exposed him, but then he bounced back in a hell of a fight against Puello. I thought Puello was gonna beat Matias, but he didn't. I think the Puello fight is his finest hour, but it took something out of him. And Smith wouldn't be denied. And yeah, I can't say enough, man. I can't say enough about the fight. It was an excellent, dramatic 5-round war. Instant classic. I think that was just a hell of. Someone said ESPN classic. Yeah, that felt like Mickey Ward versus Emmanuel Augustus type of fight. I mean, that was just a fucking war. So that was fantastic. So I agree. They should hire your boy. Okay, I'm the best. All right, but whether you think the haircut is good or not, I'm the best. I'm biased though. I'm supposed to think that. Tay Day, thank you for the super chat.